What's up, Watcher fans? This is Agent M. I'm here with Senior Editor Steve Wacker.
Hello.
So today, this week's episode of The Watcher, we want to talk a little bit about the creative retreats that you guys do in publishing and making the comic books. Just quickly explain to the fans who may not know what we're talking about what these retreats are all about.
What happens is a couple times a year we call in a lot of our writers and editorial staff and other creative staff into a room, and for 3 days we go through the entire line. We go book by book, talk about the stories the writers want to tell. We hash around ideas. Sometimes we might come in with a story point that's sort of stumping the writer and the editor, and we just kind of throw it around to see what happens. Excuse me. And it's sort of really getting down to the mud of the creative process. This time out, we ended up talking about something huge for the Marvel Universe that really ended up taking up most of the time. Is we just batted around things from the edge of space into the innerverse of the Marvel Universe. So hopefully we came up with something the fans are going to dig.
Yeah, I've been to these before, and I remember there was one where Civil War basically started as a tiny little idea and then built and built and built and became what it became, and that's what happens at these things. Do you have a particular memory from, not necessarily from this one because I don't want to spoil anything, but from a previous retreat that sticks in your mind?
What I remember from one of the very first ones I was a part of when I came over to Marvel was when they were talking about the story that became Secret Invasion. So Secret Invasion was a story that was being set up by Brian within the pages of Avengers and New Avengers, and as we started talking about it, it started growing and growing, and we saw different story possibilities and ways it could affect other characters all over the universe. So that sort of back and forth is sort of one of the reasons why you do this job. That's the fun part of it, just exchanging ideas and just throwing something completely oddball off the wall.
Awesome. Now, your corner of the world, specifically Spider-Man, Daredevil, is there anything you want to tease?
Yeah, we had, before the big Marvel retreat with everybody, we had a one-day Spider-Man retreat where it was sort of all of the books that I'm in charge of, like Punisher and Daredevil and Spider-Man and all the stuff I look over. So we had Dan Slott and Mark Waid, and Zeb Wells was in the room, and Chris Yost, and we were sort of talking about, and Rick Remender from Venom, talking about some big stuff going on there next year, particularly in the Venom book, particularly with symbiotes. And Dan was spilling all the secrets coming out of Spider Island and how that changes Peter. And we're trying to build up sort of the New York world a little bit, some of these street level characters, and have the characters move easily in and out of each other's world.
Cool.
So there's 3 or 4 big things happening next year with Spider-Man because it's his 50th anniversary.
That guy.
He's as old as you.
Man, sucks for him.
And issue 700.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. We're good. All right, guys, you're going to hear from the creators now and see what they have to say about the retreat.
If they say anything about me, tell me.
Yeah.
My name is Brian Michael Bendis. I am the writer of Avengers and Ultimate Spider-Man. We're here at the Marvel Comics editorial retreat. It is a gathering of all of Marvel editorial and some of the writers on the bigger books.
It's kind of amazing to be in a room of all these editors and writers and get to actually see how each of them approaches story completely differently, and how all of it comes together.
Wait till you see what we've got coming up.
What's cool is you get to hear everybody tell you exactly what's going to happen in their book for the whole year. So you get like the actual author of the book tell you what's going to happen.
I just spent an hour listening to Joe Quesada and Brian Bendis and Axel Alonso argue and discuss just breaking down comic book stories.
Slamming right against each other, butting heads in the biggest way possible.
The bad part of that is that about a year from now, when I'm reading Amazing Spider-Man, I'll turn the page and go, oh yeah, Slott told me this was going to happen. So everything's been spoiled for me, but it's a lot of fun to hear some of the best brains in comics tell you their awesome stories.
FF's going to be good. Very exciting Rick Remender books.
It's great. These are like my best friends in comics, and it's very much like being a kid, and you get to kind of play what if and make believe in the greatest sandbox ever conceived of by man.
Can't wait for you to check it out.
This is Marvel.
Marvel.
And this is Marvel.
Your universe.
Now it's time for this week's Stack Attack, where we take a look at some of the comics coming to you next Wednesday, September 21st. If you've been reading Marvel.com, you know how excited we are for Avengers: The Children's Crusade #7. When we last left the Scarlet Witch and the Young Avengers along with X-Factor, they had just been confronted by the X-Men and the Avengers. This Wednesday, we're going to find out what happens next in this issue written by Alan HEINBERG with art by Jimmy Cheung. For more information, check out Marvel.com, where we've been talking to Alan all week about the big characters and events coming in Avengers the Children's Crusade. It's a new dawn in Ultimate Comics X-Men #1 by Nick Spencer and Paco Medina. Mutants have been outlawed in the Ultimate Comics universe. What does this mean for all our favorite characters? What's next for Kitty Pryde, Iceman, the Human Torch, as well as the son of Wolverine, Jean Grey, and everyone else? And what's Quicksilver up to? Find out. The battle we've all been waiting for is coming up in X-Men Schism #4, written by Jason Aaron with art by the legendary Alan Davis. It's all built to this, as the attack of the new Hellfire Club leads directly into a full-on conflict between Cyclops and Wolverine. Who's going to carry the X-Men into New Regenesis? Find out here in X-Men Schism #4. And if you haven't already, make sure you pick up Ultimate Comics Spider-Man #1, featuring the most talked about superhero of the century, Miles Morales, making his debut, written by Brian Bendis with art by SARA PICHELLI. It's on sale now. For all the rest of the comics on sale now, next week, and going on into the future, be sure to hit up Marvel.com and visit the comics or comic book sections. This has been this week's Stack Attack.
Marvel, your universe.